All right, guys, Joker Boxing. I'm here with eBoxing News, Stuart Little, and EJ, and we're going to go ahead and talk about some of these great fights that we got coming up this weekend. We're going to start off talking about Zab Judah versus Paulie Malignaggi. All right, so let's go ahead and try to break down this fight. Let's talk about the advantages that each of these guys have in this fight. Who would you guys give the edge to as far as power? Let's go ahead and start off with Mark.
Well, obviously Zab Judah. It's a bit like pointless even suggesting Paulie Malignaggi's got an advantage in power, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you have to be smoking some good shit to think that. But yeah, I like Zab Judah's power. He's got some good sneaky power. Still got good power in the left hand. You know, keeps fighters honest with it. I think that's going to be good for him to keep this fight going. Really, he should have a good advantage in the power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you. Stuart, what do you think?
Oh, it's no-brainer. Obviously, Judah's got much better power. He's got very good timing as well, Zab Judah. It's just whether he's willing to throw it or not, but throw the punches. But yeah, he's definitely got more power than Paulie Malignaggi. I think every boxer in boxing has. That's about it, really, on the power.
All right, and Arrow.
Yeah, man, Zab's got the power, man. Zab's got the power to go, man. He's got the skills to pay the bills on that. It's obviously Paulie hasn't got that much power, and at that weight class, Zab's already knocked out Corey Spinks, who was not necessarily power himself, but he's already proven at that weight, at welterweight. They're fighting at 147, right? So is it 147 or 140?
147.
Yeah, 147.
Yeah, he's proven power at 147. So yeah, Zab, definitely Zab.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I would also give the power advantage to Zab, man. I think there's really no question. You got to give the power advantage to Zab. But let's go ahead and talk about some other advantages that we have in this fight as well. I mean, speed is definitely going to be a big factor in this fight. We saw Zab's speed really did make a huge difference for him against his last opponent, Danny Garcia, but speed was a big factor for Paulie against Adrian Broner, speed and foot movement. So who do you guys give the speed edge to in this matchup? Let's start off with Mark.
Well, they've both got speed, but they've both got different types of speed. Zab Judah's got the speed for one punch, so he can throw one punch a lot faster than Paulie Malignaggi. What he can't do is what Paulie Malignaggi can do, and that's put combinations together. The only difference is Paulie Malignaggi tends to sit in the pocket a little bit too much. Like Amir Khan, he likes to throw that extra punch in when he probably doesn't need to, and can get clocked for it a few times. So depends what you like and depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about one punch, Zab Judah. If you're talking about combinations, Paulie Malignaggi.
All right, good point. Stuart?
Yeah, I think Judah has the better speed with the punching. I think Malignaggi has better foot speed. But like Mark said, Judah doesn't throw many combinations. So he doesn't make the best of his tools. He's a very quick fighter, Judah, and if he threw the punches, he'd get a lot of fighters out of there quicker. But he's very, on the back foot, very negative, and where Paulie will go in there and throw the punches, but he has got speed. But I'd have to say Judah's still the faster with the hands. It's just the footwork. Obviously, Paulie moves better.
All right, sounds good. EJ, why don't you go ahead and weigh in?
It's very difficult, because obviously by your eyesight you think Paulie, and then obviously what Mark said, eBoxing News said, it's like you can see with Zab, he tries to do one punch, but it depends, because when they fight different opponents, they do different things. I think it may be balanced, and it may be controversial to say that, but I think maybe about the same. I know Zab hits harder, but maybe about the same. It depends if Zab's going to be willing to throw that many punches, because Paulie's going to be trying to throw that many punches, and I think for Zab to trying to win this fight, he has to has more output than what he normally does. So I'd say about the same. I mean, people might argue with that, but I'll just say keep it in the middle.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with all of you guys, because if we're talking about one punch, you can make a debate for either guy. If we're talking about one punch, I'd probably lean towards Zab, just because we know that he has those lightning fast left hands. But I agree with all of you guys. And the big problem with Zab Judah is he's very inactive, especially in his recent fights. He's been extremely inactive. And Paulie Malignaggi is the complete opposite. All right, here's a guy who has a very large punch output. So, number one, that's going to definitely factor in when the judges are trying to, figure out who's winning these rounds. And, also it just tends to create the illusion that he could be landing more punches, even if he's not, just based on activity. And we saw that in the Adrian Broner fight with Paulie Malignaggi. Let's go ahead and do this. Before we actually get into our predictions, I want to ask you guys, what would you like to see the winner do next? What would you like to see the winner of this fight do next as far as opposition? Obviously, the welterweight division is stacked. So are there any opponents that you'd like to see the winner of this fight move on and fight? E-Boxing News.
Unfortunately, I think it's inevitable that the winner of this fight will fight Adrian Broner when he beats Marcos Maidana. I don't think there's any point in fighting the likes of Devin Alexander. But maybe Paulie would like to fight Devin Alexander. They've got beef. Do I think he could beat him? No. Moving on from him, who else is still in the division? Floyd. No point in talking about that. That's about it, really, isn't it? Am I missing someone?
Yeah, there's one-time Thurman.
Yeah, that'll be a good fight for it. That'll be a good fight. But like I said, I can see them using the name of Judah or Paulie Malignaggi saying he's making a great comeback, to put him in with Adrian Broner and make more money. That's what I can see.
All right, sounds good. Stuart?
Yeah, Zab Judah, if he loses, then I think you should call it a day. I'm not really a Zab Judah fan, to be honest with you. I don't like fighters that come into the ring with an entourage of 150 people and then talk the talk and then basically do nothing in a fight, cower away from a battle. I don't like them sort of fighters. So if Judah loses, then I'd like to see him retire. If Paulie loses, I'd like to see him fight firm and get that beef squashed between the two and then call it a day and stick to his job in commentating, because he's very good at that, and that's a good career for him. And I don't think anyone wants to see him fight really anymore.
Yeah, those are some good points. Yeah, I think I think that the Thurman fight is definitely very possible. EJ, what do you think, man? Go ahead and weigh in.
No, man. You know what? The both of them are fighting for money because they can't fight no one else. Like, basically, Paulie was just on the verge of retirement. Like, if he couldn't, he hooked up with Al Heyman. He was just on the verge, but Al Heyman kind of is just trying to resurrect his career, given the fight with Zab. But whoever loses, like, to be honest with you, they might get another big fight. Someone should fight some guys over in the UK. Kell Brook, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a rematch with Amir Khan, because Amir Khan's level ain't looking good. So I'd like probably both of them to fight Amir Khan or Kell Brook. That'd be interesting. Come to the UK now. And, you know what I mean? Because the reason why I say that this fight is only for just trying to Brooklyn. It's for them to get money because the paydays are slim. There's not many paydays out for them for them to go. Where can they go? You know what I mean? Like, who was the fight? And Paulie was the carrot dangling here because he had the belt. He's lost the belt. Adrian Broner's there. Adrian Broner's not going to touch them. He's not going to touch Zab. You know what I mean? No one really wants to fight them. So for them two, they're going to have to come. I think they should come to the UK, which would be for us over the UK. It'd be good for Kell. Give Kell more exposure, and let's see how these guys, like Ray Jones and James Stoney and some of them guys, they're basically at the end of their career. Let's do it. Let's just go other places and see what else is out there. So that's what I'd like to see.
So wait there, the winner fights Kell Brook, the loser goes into prize fighter, yeah?
you got it. You got it.
Yeah, those are some good points. Those are some really good points. I like that idea, EJ. Yeah, I say one of these guys is going to get fed to Keith Thurman, in my opinion. That's just how I see it. I think one of these guys are going to get fed to Thurman because Thurman's a guy right now. He's looking for opponents. You got Robert Guerrero who turned him down. So I think that whether it's the winner or the loser, one of these guys gets fed to him. And I think that's a good point. The next guy, if he wants to continue boxing, he probably should go to the UK. Go be a name over there. Go fight in front of plenty of fans. Maybe fight a guy like Kell Brook, try to test him. That would be probably his biggest win to date, Kell Brook. So why not, make that fight happen? So yeah, I think that there's definitely going to be some interesting things coming out for the winner and the losers of this fight. Both of these guys, in my opinion, probably have 2 fights left in them before it's probably going to be time for them to call it a day. And I think there's a lot more pressure on Zab Judah, in my personal opinion, because I think the majority of people are going to be expecting him to win here. And we've already seen Zab. The rap on him is time and time again. When he steps up, he doesn't exactly come through, right? So I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him, and there's going to be a lot of voices that say if he loses this fight in a big way, that it's probably time to pack it up. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on Zab, so we'll see how he handles that pressure. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into our predictions for this fight. E-boxing news. I'm going to break down your prediction, man.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Zab Judah wins this fight by a close points decision. Basically, I don't know why I'm picking Zab Judah to win again. I think he'll do enough to win. I think he'll do enough to win. If he doesn't, all I can say is he is the American Orly Harrison. That's all I can say if he loses. But that's all I'm going to say.
All right, so you're going with Zab Judah. Are you going by unanimous decision?
Yeah. Close decision. Maybe even majority or split.
Okay, nice. All right, Stuart, what do you think?
Yeah, well, the problem is with Zab Judah predictions, we never know what Zab we're going to get. So if we get a Zab that's hungry and really wants to fight and wants to, move on with his career, then I think he can beat Paulie Malignaggi. If we get that lacklustre by Zab Judah, then I think Paulie Malignaggi will win on points. Hard one to call. I'll go with Zab Judah, but I'm not 100% sure with it. But I'll go Judah.
All right, Arrow, what do you think, man?
Yeah, man. Just on the last two performances, I have to go with Paulie. Paulie was just a champion. Just lost his belt just the other day, and he went to the Ukraine and took out Shevchenko, which was a fairly decent opponent. He stopped him on cuts. And if I go by resume and the Ricos thing, I'd have to go by Paulie. I think Paulie, his hand speed and his movement will give Zab a lot of shots, and he'll be there to be hit. Zab hasn't got the reflexes no more, and Paulie has good, decent hand speed. So I feel like Paulie will probably win the fight on just probably just outplay Zab. Zab will be trying to hit him and just missing, and Paulie just be picking him apart. No, I could have just went the other way and said Zab could time him and take him out, but just on the last two performances, in my opinion, I think Zab's a step slow. Even though I said the speed, so I think Paulie on his last couple of performances is a bit more fresher. So I'll take Paulie.
All right, man. I think everybody brought up some really good points. I originally, man, when I heard about this fight, I easily thought, okay, man, what is Paulie gonna do to Zab? Zab has got this. But you know what? After much consideration, I'm ready to switch my picks and go with Paulie Malignaggi. Okay, I'm gonna say why. Number one, we just saw Paulie Malignaggi take some really hard shots from Adrian Broner, and he had no problem. All right, and Paulie, man, for all the flack that he gets, he has a very good chin. He has a very good chin. And, Zab Judah, his power at this stage in his career is debatable. It's very debatable. And when you factor in the fact that Zab is not very active in fights, he tends to give away a lot of rounds. If he doesn't come out and get off to a fast start, and that's something that he is not known for doing, he could be in big trouble. This fight could quickly get to the point, in my opinion, where he needs a knockout. And like I said, Paulie has a great chin, so I don't know. I mean, Stuart brought up a good point, and that point was we don't know what Zab is going to show up, right? We never know what Zab is going to show up. But my thing is, personally, I've picked Zab time and time again, and he's let me down. So I'm just going to start, in my head thinking that the worst Zab is going to show up. That's just what I'm going to start thinking. Like, we're not going to get a focused Zab. Maybe there's no such thing as a focused Zab Judah. It's time to just finally start thinking about that. So you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Paulie wins. I'd like Zab to win because I think there's probably more interesting fights for him. But at the end of the day, I think Paulie is just potentially the better boxer at this stage in his career. Like Arrow said, man, he's at this stage, he's had the belt, more recent than Zab has, and he's proven that he can hang with champions more in his recent fights. So those are my thoughts on it. Does anybody have any closing statements?
Yeah, I just want to say, hope it's a good fight, and we'll be watching it together, I assume.
Sounds good, man. EJ, Stewart?
No, not really. I mean, like I said, it's not a great fight to watch, I don't think. I think it'll be a clash of styles, but, it's still two good names, and I'll definitely be... Yeah.
Yeah,
I've got something to say, actually. I tweeted that fight ages ago to Paulie Malignaggi, Zab Judah, and neither of them retweeted it, favoured it, nothing. None of them got back to me. Next minute, they've put it up that, oh, now it's getting made. You know, Battle of Brooklyn. That's what I said too. Battle of Brooklyn. What do you reckon? And none of them got back to me, and now they've cut me out. That's what I want to say.
My take is let Brooklyn stand up. Hopefully they'll put up good performances for their home fans in New York, and they've done well for their careers, and obviously they're tapping out. It's the last leg of their career, and they want to try and make some money in Bradley Center. So hopefully, they put on a great performance for their home fans, and it'll probably be the last time you see the two of them again. So hopefully,
I hope they have a good showing too, man. I hope they have a good showing too. Stewart has a point that I thought about too, man. This might not be as exciting as everyone expects, because at the end of the day, when it comes to Paulie Malignaggi fights, I mean, it's usually the other guy who makes it exciting, and can kind of fall asleep in the ring as well. So we could definitely be looking at death by 1,000 jabs here. It just all depends on how focused Zab kind of comes in, and I guess how aggressive Paulie decides that he wants to be. But regardless, I agree. I hope both of these guys have a great showing. And one thing is for certain, it's definitely going to be a great night of fights on that night. That's for sure.